actually knew Joan Hunter Dunn, who was the lady in John Betjeman's poem. So there's some name dropping for you. He also tells people he knows me. So T-shirt. What are they called? Forward Press, who are one of the great champions of poetry in this country. They produce the Poetry Now magazine, quarterly magazine, and print lots of anthologies and things. And in 2009, they introduced a new national poetry competition called Poetry Rivals. It attracted 7,500, I think it was, entries. And the top 50 adults and the top 50 under 18s were invited to read their poems at a poetry slam up in Peterborough. And being a very enterprising company, they took a photograph of everybody as they read their poem and offered it for sale in various forms. You could have your mug on a mug, you have it on a mouse mat, a jigsaw puzzle even, and a shirt. All of which is a very long-winded way of introducing the poem I was reading when that photograph was taken. It's called More Than the Milky Way Has Stars. Some of you will remember, I think, my good friend Brenda Palmer and I reading this as a journal back in the Central Studio. This is just the male half of that, which was the original poem. That's what I brought this for. I could have made you happy. I know I could. But you never knew. You never saw the love shining from my eyes, bathing you in an iridescent glow. You knew nothing of my heart pounding whenever I beheld you. Never held you. Yearned to hold you, never told you, never dared. You weren't for the likes of me. If I close my eyes, I can see you now, just as you were then. Hazel eyes in elfin face. Oh, more freckles than the Milky Way has stars. I would have kissed them, every one by one, throughout the night until the morning sun appeared. I never learned how far those freckles went. I made you laugh sometimes. With me, I hope. Please, please tell me it was with me. And when tragedy struck on that awful day, and I saw you bewildered, bereft, I comforted you. At arm's length, of course, always at arm's length, out of harm's length. You weren't for the likes of me. I wanted to take your softness in my arms and ease away your vulnerability, smooth away your pain, and tell you of my love. But I dared not. What if you'd stiffened and pulled away? What if I'd held you too tight and you'd shattered into 1,000 pieces? So I just held your hands, and as the tears washed over those freckles, I used to dream of you. Oh, turgid, turbulent dreams. Dreams of you and me locked together, limbs entwining. I could have made you love me, I know I could. And then it all came to an end on the day you married him. And afterwards, when it was my turn to kiss the bride, I saw those eyes threatening to brim over as you uttered the words that will haunt me forever. You know, I always thought it would be you and I, but somehow you never seemed interested. And now I shall never know where those freckles end. The embarrassing bit about this photo, some of you may recognise the photo. I wanted a photo in black and white to have for tonight, and so I looked on the internet. There was loads of images of various black and white photos, and I found some with freckles, and I thought, right, I've got freckles, I'll choose that one. Just an anonymous person. And the first thing somebody said when I opened it was, why have you got a photo of, what's her name? Emma Watson. So I've been reading a love poem to Emma Watson. Sorry, Emma. Now, I have to confess, and people will nod their heads in agreement on this one, that I'm a bit pedantic when it comes to English and grammar. I know our wonderful language is changing all the time. Don't laugh, Mary. And these sort of things don't really matter, but so long as you know what you're talking about. But it doesn't on me. I mean, if somebody asked me to fill a form out, I want to grab them by the throat and say, Americans fill forms out, we fill them in. and it's schedule, not schedule. And if you want me to come to your party, don't send me an invite. An invite is a verb. You can't send someone a verb. Send me an invitation, and then I might consider coming. And when I ask somebody, have you got a pencil? And they say, yes, I do. I mean, what's that? That's the answer to, do you have a pencil? The answer to, have you got a pencil? Yes, I have. And they always say, yes, I do. And all about these signs you see dotted around. I mean, I won't mention the greengrocer's apostrophe, that's been dealt with 1,000 times. But all sales you see on now, it says, massive sales, many items up to half price. What do you mean it's down to half price, not up to half price? Unless they've been selling them at 25% before. Then it's not a bargain. And then, what about that one? On the back of a car, baby on board, or horse box, horses on board. When I see one of those, I think to myself, oh, right, then I won't run into the back of you. I was thinking of doing that, but I'll try and find something else. The one that really, really, really annoys me is when someone says, one criteria. Criteria is plural, so you can't have one. And surprisingly, one of the great culprits of this is this forward press I was mentioning. I've got a couple of their anthologies where they say the only criteria for inclusion in this volume is. And then, just to crown it, a couple of years ago, they asked for poems on a particular theme, which they often do. And this one was Up the Wall. And it said, the only criteria is that it must be something that annoys you. So, cynical old me entered this one. It's called Criterias. Anything that annoys you or drives you up the wall. That's the only criteria. It can be anything at all. So read the letter from Forward Press, inviting submissions of verse. I have to admit, when I read it, I immediately started to curse. Well, the one thing that really annoys me is when I receive a letter containing grammatical errors from someone who should know better. A company publishing literature surely must have heard that where one principle's involved, criterion is the word.